You can know everything about your childhood and still flinch when someone closes a cabinet too hard. That's the part nobody tells you. You read the books. You name the parents. You sat across from a therapist for 2 years and put words on things that used to live in your chest without names. And then one Tuesday, your partner sighs in the next room. Not at you, just a sigh. And your stomach drops the exact way it dropped when you were 9 and heard the front door open. 15 years since you lived in that house. 2 seconds for your body to forget all of it. People love the word healing. It sounds like an arc, like something finishes. Like one day you close the last chapter and walk out a different person. But that's not what happens. What happens is quieter and more stubborn than that. Your body learned how to be safe before your brain learned how to think. The part of you that scanned for footsteps, for tone, for the half second between a question and an answer. That part went to work when you were 3. It didn't write anything down. It didn't need to. It just learned. Psychologists call this implicit memory. It's the kind of learning that doesn't come back as a story. It comes back as a reaction, a tightness, a sudden need to apologize before you even know what for. And here's what's strange. You can't argue with it. You can't sit your nervous system down and explain that you're a grown adult now with your own apartment and a door that locks. It doesn't care. It learned its lesson in a different language before you had language at all. So you do what everyone does. You build a life on top of it. You pick a job where you're useful. You pick partners who feel familiar in a way you don't want to look at too closely. You get good at reading rooms. You apologize at work for things that aren't your fault. And the apology leaves your mouth before the thought does. And somewhere in the back of your head, a small voice goes, "Oh, that one's still here." This is not failure. This is what being human looks like after a childhood that required strategy. The lie is that you're supposed to outgrow it. That if you do enough work, read enough, cry enough, one morning, you'll wake up clean. Nobody wakes up clean. The people you think have it figured out have just learned which room of themselves to keep the lights off in. What actually changes is smaller. You start to recognize the flinch before it becomes a sentence. You catch yourself reaching for the old apology and let it die in your throat. You notice that your partner's sigh is just a sigh, not always on the first try, but sometimes. And sometimes is more than you had. That's the whole thing. Not outgrowing. Noticing. The child you were is still in there, still scanning the room. That part doesn't leave. It was the first thing about you that was good at its job. It kept you alive in a situation it shouldn't have had to. You don't get to fire it. You get to thank it and carry it.